News just in, World War III has already been canceled, boys. Initial reports are indicating that, and I quote, "We would like to avoid conflict at all costs, and peace on earth is what we now hope to achieve. Please award the title of back World War champs to the land of bald eagles. We simply cannot compete against a country with mad lads who are willing to turn a World War I issued 105-year-old Colt, model 1911, chambered in the Lord's caliber 45 AARP, ending with, it beat us 100 years ago, it's going to do it again." Listen, Cody Curry here, and this is 110 SAS Actual. Now guys, I'm not trying to brag here, but I can turn this old, worthless, and ancient Pilgrim freedom dispensing machine into a goddamn modern art masterpiece. Like, honestly, this thing was probably worth less than scrap value before. Heck, I probably would have just had to pay somebody to even dispose of it. No cap on God, for real, lit AF, boy. Whatever Gen Z says. I hope you guys liked that. But you see guys, I'm a visionary. Now while most of the world would see this ugly, dated, and worthless old thing for what it is, an ugly, dated, and worthless hunk of iron, I see it and I think I can change her. I can fix her. You see, my grandma always used to tell me how handsome I am, and we know that's a crock of crap, but if you see me at Granny's 8 days a week looking for that little ego bump, you just mind your own business, okay? You see, it goes to show, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. So, when I adopted this adorable hunk of trash, I knew it was ugly, guys. I might have even lied and told myself, it's so ugly that it's cute. But I had a vision, a dream where no man would ever have to suffer the same feelings I had when the bleach hit my eyes for the first time, when the old original Colt crossed my path. A dream where no dated and antiquated Pilgrim gat was ever to be seen again. Because guys, at the end of the day, we all know a weapon without an optic and a flashlight is just that. A hear ye 9000. Like dog, it's wild. It even took them so long to change from the oil lantern weapon mounted light to a Surefire X300 turbo. Like bro, Thomas Alva Edison was out there brewing up literal voodoo magic in like 1800 something AD. And it took them like another 100 years to make the connection that we should go from, mounted light bulb onto a gun so we can see in the dark. Like, come on dog, listen. I'm not much of a conspiracy theorist here guys, but I do believe Big Light was keeping its secrets for far too long. Don't even get me started on glass. Big Iron has been keeping the little man down for centuries now. Heck, to even think we are at the point where they have folks brainwashed into thinking iron sights are still relevant in 2023. Could you imagine? Dudes out here having a stroke about needing backup iron sights on their rifle or pistol, and they don't even have a QD mount for their primary optic. And they're not out here carrying the proper tools to get that optic off for when they trip over their carpet in their mother's basement. Shoot, the only thing they're carrying in their pristine condition Cry G3 operator pants is a 12 rack of Little Debbie zebra cakes. But I digress. So, JDs and Lettleman, what you see here is one small step for SAS, one giant leap for all mankind. Now, all kidding aside here, guys, let's talk about this heartthrob that is the World War III 1911. So this whole thing, it kind of started out as like a joke, really. I just kind of bumped into this thing and it's one of those guns you weren't really actually looking for. You had zero idea you were even like interested in this thing. But when you seen it, you immediately called up a firm and have them get a 37.69% interest cash advance against your left kidney. You gotta do what you gotta do. Now, when I got this thing into my hands for the first time, I genuinely haven't been that impressed by a pistol in quite some time. Like, first of all, this thing is legit 105 years old. Made in early 1918, sent over and issued to the United States AEF, that's the Army Expedition Forces. Expeditionary? I can't remember. Anyways, unfortunately, that is all the history I was able to pull on this thing. But like, how neat is that? Like, it's possible some 5'5" absolute mad lad hopped over the top into no man's land and taught the bad guys a lesson in humanity. Or heck, probably it could have even just sat in the original box in a depot over there and never once seen the light of Europe. There's really no telling. But they say, if you lie to yourself long enough, it becomes the truth. And well, I like to think, this little guy here, it went over the top a baker's dozen times and stacked bad guys 5 feet high and rising. So that's pretty neat, right? Anyways, the first thing that really surprised me was how well this thing was made, This was back in a time where CNC machines didn't exist and robot 9000 Supermax computers, whatever, weren't drawing up CAD designs and get a button press to pump out like 1,000 of them an hour. Nah, these things were legit handmade and hand-fitted weapons, made by actual gunsmiths with a passion for them. Not just like a kid on a keyboard, telling a machine what to do. And you can really tell that by just taking a quick look at it, let alone holding it, It's actually quite an impressive build quality they have on these things. There's no doubt about it. And if you think about this, like, these dudes were legit riding Mr. Ed to work, pumping out the finest handguns ever devised, all to go home and crap in an outhouse because indoor plumbing wasn't even really that widespread yet. Like, it's kind of a little wild, right? The actual fit and function and feel of these things, it's truly mind-boggling, guys. Like, dog, this thing is 105 years old, and it's not like it's only still up and running, but it's essentially the grandfather of like 99% of all semi-automatic handguns of today. So of course, when I got this thing, in its original condition, I went and beat the brakes off of it. I ran a bunch of self-defense rounds, 230 grain ball, and what else I could find under the kitchen sink. Not only did it go bang real smooth, but it also went bang every time I told it to. Awesome. So that's that, right? Hang it up, put it in the safe, oil it once a year and bring it out maybe to shoot. Nah, we don't do that around here. If it's in the safe room and it isn't getting shot, down the road, it's gonna go. We don't do that collector crap here. Well, actually, we kind of do, but we just turn the old, antiquated junk into modern art masterpieces. So that's kind of like where it all started, just a guy that kind of wanted the absolute most out of something very old. I figured, Colt made 2 million of these things, okay? There's one in at least every person's safe over the age of 60. They're by no means rare, so why not take a classic and make it an instant classic? So the first thing I found that these guys really lack is the trigger. Now, it's actually a very surprisingly crisp break and reset. Like, it's kind of shocking that they got it down that well that long ago. But the break weight is like 8 pounds. It's heavy, guys. Like, even just working the slide with the hammer down, it kind of has you questioning, like, if you're doing it all wrong at the gym. So that was the first thing that had to go. But I wanted something special, I wanted to retain the most original look of the gun and make it look like it just crawled out of the trench, but with a chef's kiss of modernization. So I said, the trigger has got to stay, but you got to lighten that thing up, and we got to get a whole new ignition in there. So we get the break weight down to right about 2 pounds and has an upgraded ignition in it. Now it has an absolutely flawless break and reset that would have given Jerry Michalik, I don't know, the guy who shoots really good and really fast. It would have gave him goosebumps, okay? But nah. That ain't it, Hoss. We gotta get an optic on this thing. Iron sights suck, and especially these originals. So, we took this 105-year-old slide to the mill. We fitted it with a billet steel plate to the cut, and bingo bango bongo, we're already in the 21st century. I went with the RMR HD for this guy. The HD is hands down the most durable and most impressive pistol dot on the market today. There's no questioning that. If you guys haven't seen my video on it, I highly suggest you go back after this and watch it. We shoot it with a shotgun, run it over like 5 times, drag it behind a car, and do tons of other crazy stuff with it. Not only did it still work perfectly fine after that, but it even held zero. So yeah, what better choice to win World War III than the RMR HD? There isn't one. Now, as I mentioned before, seeing in the dark, yeah, that's pretty neat. In fact, it's quite literally a superpower. And who doesn't want superpowers, dog? So, we had the boys fab up a rail. But how do you get a rail onto a gat that ain't got nowhere to put it? Drill, baby, drill. The original frame was drilled and tapped for screws. A custom Picatinny rail that was meant for a Browning high power was actually hand fitted to the frame, then drilled and tapped, and a little baby dab of Vibratite. I then slapped the dust cover of that baby and said, she ain't going nowhere. So now we've got night vision, baby, but you think we stopped there? You're crazy. The Lord's caliber of 45 AARP is enough to stop a charging Tyrannosaurus Rex. Don't believe me? Just ask George Washington. How else do you think he crossed the Delaware? Exactly. But having the world's most stopping power comes at a cost, boys. You're gonna feel that wildebeest stopping recoil, and there's just no way I'm gonna ruin my manicure here. So we did the most logical thing I could possibly imagine. and we had the barrel ported. But the original barrel, it was pretty shot out. Like, it was really hard to get actual good groups out of this thing, and it was too thin to withstand the tremendous new life that it's been given. So we scrapped it, dropped in a new match grade Ed Brown threaded barrel, drill baby drill on that 105-year-old slide, and ported the pipe. And honestly, what's cooler than a World War III winning 1911? A ported World War III winning 1911. But Sass, why did you port a threaded barrel? What a waste. Wrong again, friendo. QD bayonet. Ain't no way you can win World War III without a stabby boy. But also, duels as a writing utensil. Just dip it in the ink of your enemies and write the second Declaration of Independence. It's brilliant, really. 2-in-1. Surprise Big Army like hasn't patented that yet. Maybe they're still reaching out. I don't know. Maybe I'll email them my phone number. I don't know. But were we done there? Forget about it. Guys, after 2 world wars and teaching the bad guys a lesson in humanity, you know, this girl, she was just a little tired, you see. You know, decades of education in humility dealing had made, you know, just the old girl just a little loose, you know. And hey, that's okay. We'd all be a little sloppy after a long century of dealing freedom. So the slide to frame fit, you know, it wasn't ideal. You know, you could kind of just take it and shake it a little bit and just feel some rattle in there. It's pretty normal for a gun of 105 years old to not fit, you know, like a glove. So we had to give it a new life. Took it to the welder, built up the rails in the frame and the slide, and hand fit again the slide to the frame. Brother, not even Nighthawk can make this bad Larry more smooth. I now have a custom hand-fitted 1911 for only like twice the price of a custom hand-fitted 1911. Stonks, baby, stonks. Listen, guys, the math I did, it was calculated. But brother, am I bad at math. So, yeah, end of story, right? False. Now, back in the Pilgrim days of 1918, when the Germans first landed on Plymouth Rock, our steel exactly wasn't, you know, the same quality it is today. In fact, you know, it wasn't the best suited for a century's worth of freedom dealing. So, there's some cases where, you know, where these things are cracking. You know, the frames and the slides could possibly crack under the tremendous weight of playing World Police. So I had the lads heat treat everything from the frame to the slide and all the small parts to help bring it back up to today's strengths of steel standards. Okay, for real. That's it. That's all we did to it. Psych. No. We made all new iron sights for the gun. Suppressor height sights, actually. And I had to make it look just like the originals. Garbage, but aesthetic. Aesthetic garbage. Neat. Okay, guys, I'm serious. That's actually really it. After all of that, she's finally done. So how does it shoot? I guess the real question you guys have probably been asking yourself the majority of this time is, you know, aside from what is my major malfunction, was it worth it? The answer is 8 days a week. A resounding yes. Guys, I'm not kidding you here when I say this thing is legitimately the best and most fun and most favorite pistol I have ever owned and shot. Like, if you look at it just from like a performance perspective, you have an incredibly refined, hand-fitted, and tuned-up single-stack 1911. It's insanely accurate and super smooth shooting, just like all of, you know, my Nighthawks are smooth. But then you add in the old razzle-dazzle of it being a 105-year-old issued piece. That's probably the most aesthetic pistol ever made. Well, you probably have one of the greatest pistols ever made. Like, look at this thing, guys. Like, if it doesn't make you feel some kind of way, I'm not sure you have your head on straight. The most iconic handgun ever made. Its first combat iteration, brought into the 21st century with modern gunsmithing. It's my daily pistol, guys. I literally rock this thing every single day of the week. It's my go-to gun. I can't put it down. I literally only have one regret throughout this entire build. You know, this took some serious time getting everything just right, and my only regret is that I didn't do it sooner. It probably would have saved me a ton of money messing around with like Gucci Glocks, 2011s, whatever. Throw them all away. This is seriously my go-to now. So gentlemen, in conclusion here, I'd like to end it on a couple things, you know, on a real note. First, no, this gun is not ruined. Don't let your blood pressure spike. It's just a tool. Second, these things are not museum pieces. There's probably a handful of them out there that are legit museum pieces. You know, they're not even that rare. If I can find one to buy on the internet in 15 seconds, it's not that rare, nor is it really even that valuable. There's no shortage of these things, guys. They literally made over 2 million of them. You would have a harder time finding a complete Knight's Armament SR25 that's currently in production than you would finding a 105-year-old pistol just like this. So, before you hit them comments and go feeding my algorithm, just reach into your pocket, pop a chill pill, your cardiologist will thank you, I promise. So gentlemen, until next time, we'll catch you then.